Hello and welcome. My name is Errity Green and this is Wise Women Television, and today I am bringing you a pick a card reading on Show Me the Money. So this is a money and finances reading. It very well may tie into purpose or career path because humans currently agree that that's the way that we receive money and abundance in our lives. However, it is focused on finances and money. So if you find you like this reading, I encourage you to stick around, to like, to subscribe, press the bell icon. That way you receive notifications when new videos pop up. I do offer both personal readings as well as coaching programs to support you in your life, in your work, and on your spiritual path. I have a profound program out right now, a year-long coaching community to nurture your true nature and your highest potential. You can check out those details below or at erritygreen.com/spiritwoman. So let's go ahead and get started. I will place a picture up now of your 4 card piles to choose from today. All right, let's go ahead and get started with card pile 1. So card pile 1, it looks like you are stepping into your creative power, recognizing that you are the one who has to take responsibility for your life and support yourself to reach to higher heights or to reach your greatest potential, to increase your finances and so on and so forth. It looks like you might want to start a business of some kind. Either you are in the process of it, you already have recently, but this is something that's relatively new for you, or at least you're stepping into it in a bigger, bolder way. So it looks like you want to provide services, to support others, it could have something to do with personal empowerment. It could have something to do with therapy, counseling, or coaching services. It could have to do with personal transformation or even spirituality, spiritual growth, or spiritual work. I'm not getting any one of those in particular, but I am getting stepping into being a service provider or a service provider role, which reminds me of starting your own business. This could be an online business, a coaching business. I do feel a lot of feminine energy here as well, and that's what is displayed on the card. So you could be providing services and support to women specifically, but you're pretty much taking control of your life, of your finances, and deciding that this is how you would like to bring in your income or support yourself to sort of break through those glass ceilings. Any kind of ceilings that you have had in place for yourself in the past could have been due to working under other people or working for other people, and you've realized that part of creating more freedom in your life is putting the control in your own hands. So interestingly enough though, I'm not finding that your primary reason for this business is financial. I'm feeling like this is purpose related. I'm feeling like this is passion related. I'm feeling like this is even soul or spiritual destiny related. Like you are meant to do this, and it's sort of like a side note that you're putting the reins of abundance into your own hands. It's almost like a secondary bonus. Like, okay, I'm doing this business. This is what I'm here to do. This is what I want to do. This is what I've always endeavored to do. And now I'm also realizing that I have control to bring in more financial success into my life. So stepping into personal responsibility, realizing that you are the key, the one to bring in more money into your life and reality, and you're doing that. It looks like there's some kind of business of your own. This may not be the case for everyone, a business of your own, but I did also get some kind of service provider or role that could be therapy, counseling, or any of the other examples I provided. And if those don't land for you, you can apply the circumstances to your experience. Yeah, so the things that have been holding you back so far, and I'm feeling like they're not only holding you back in your purpose path or have in the past, right, because you've only recently stepped into this level of personal power and self-responsibility in order to take this leap of faith and to do this work or to step into this role. But in the past, there was some limiting beliefs that were holding you back about yourself, about whether you were capable. You might have even sort of been waiting for life to do it for you, or to give you a sign, or to take the first step, or to present some gold mine opportunity to you. It's kind of like when you get in that experience of like waiting for someone else to give it or deliver it or to do it for you, and you're like, oh wait, this is me. But also it could have had to do with a lack of self-worth or deservingness, not believing in your own worthiness, something like that, in terms of not fully trusting yourself to step into that role of running your own business and the consequences that come with that, providing services to people and the consequences that come to that, all the responsibilities and the roles and the tasks that are under the umbrella of some kind of business or whatever role that you're taking on, even this purpose path. That's very big, to recognize that you're stepping into your purpose whoa, that's a lot of responsibility again. And so in some ways you had some limiting beliefs that were still holding you back, or even subconscious drives and impulses that continue to bring you back to square one time and time again. And I feel like you were also sort of denying your desire for this. Now, I feel like for many or most of you, it wasn't as much of your denial of desire that you wanted this business or this purpose path or to step into this career, but you might have been like belittling of it, of like, oh, it's really no big deal. Like, I can do a lot of things and be happy, or you know, it doesn't take a lot for me to be content or at peace. Like, this is something that I'm interested in, but it doesn't have to happen. So you might have been suppressing your desire in that way, but you could have also been suppressing your desire for money. Oh, it's no big deal to me. Or, you know, we tend to see a lot of, you know, more spiritual slash hippie values in the spiritual community. And I'm assuming that you might consider yourself spiritual in some way because you're here on this channel watching my channel. And so you might have suppressed your desire for more, suppress your desire for abundance, suppress your desire to be well taken care of, or for financial freedom. And there's nothing wrong with those desires. Those desires, if they're a part of you, they're natural. Some desires are also conditioned, but they're not something to be evaluated or judged. They're something to be explored. You can give them permission to be there and to exist. You can give yourself permission to desire, to dream up, to allow yourself to yearn to expand or to experience something. You can give yourself the freedom to do that. From that space, though, of really allowing desire to be a part of your experience, you can also ensure that you're acting in ways and making choices that are most relevant to your personal value system. So it makes sense that you might not have the values of the mainstream culture around money or consumerism or capitalism or whatever your particular belief system is, and that's okay. And you can still acknowledge your desires, allow your desires, and find a way to express them within whatever value system that you do have. But we don't want to be suppressing our desires and denying those things, because that's not only held back energy that then just gets sort of locked in our bodies and goes unacknowledged, but in a lot of ways it holds us back. We're not able to feel fully expressed or fully realized, and we kind of wonder that we're feeling incomplete or like something's missing, when it's really just ourselves putting that desire away in a locked box and refusing to look at it. So in some ways you were holding back on your desire to do this, and then also holding yourself back and stepping into this role. But you've done the self-discovery, you've done some inner healing work, some inner journeying, some again, this could be healing related. We can call it inner work, shadow work, integration work. But perhaps you had a mentor or a therapist or someone supporting you and walking with you on this journey. But you've been doing that deeper work, and it looks like you have been recognizing what your true desires are. Maybe you haven't tapped into all of it and given yourself permission for all of it yet, but you're getting more clear, you're gaining a clear awareness around what you want, as well as the old beliefs that have held you back. And that's why you've now been in this space of taking that responsibility to go ahead and advance, to proceed, to move forward. And you're finally taking that step to move into the unknown. So when we say show me the money, and we're talking about this reading, you know, what you're being told here is the unknown. And you're sort of being given this invitation to step into the unknown, recognizing that you don't know what comes as a result of this choice. You don't. There's no way to know. There's no way to know for sure. There's no way to guarantee or secure particular outcomes. These might be some of the things that you were insecure about, unsure of yourself. You know, can I do this? Can I trust myself? All those questions that we were talking about in the beginning. And yet, wherever you've been at, since this is a financially focused reading, wherever you've been at before, you already know what that looks like. You have a general idea of how fulfilling it is. You have a general idea of how much money it brings you. You already know how the old chapter and old version of you looks like. So it's almost like there's this invitation or welcoming to be willing to explore the unknown, even if you don't know what comes. Even if you don't know what it brings you, even if you can't guarantee that it'll bring you all the things that you dream of, you know, this big purpose path or all this fulfillment or a lot more money, even if you don't know that, isn't it willing to, or is it willing, are you willing to explore the unknown just to see what it might have in store for you? Because it feels like you will be much more fulfilled on this path in terms of your purpose or career path or this role. You'll be much more fulfilled following along with this path than you were in your previous paths. And I feel like that's, again, because this is related to your spiritual purpose and mission. It's something that you are meant to bring forward in this life. And so naturally you're going to feel significantly more fulfilled. And it's essentially giving you the green light and even the wild card or whatever, to be able to dream up and create whatever it is you want for yourself. It's pretty much saying this is up to you. You get to decide how this goes. You get to determine what this life and reality looks like. So you're being given the green light to go ahead. And of course, many of you have already began this process, or have already begun this process. And so it's just affirming that and confirming that for you, that yes, you are on the right path. This is the golden ticket. And even if you can't know everything it's going to bring, will you consider that it might be worth it to try it out and explore anyway? Because if nothing else, it's going to bring you more fulfillment for sure. And then you're also going to be learning so much more along the way, including self-reliance, self-trust, self-management. There's such opportunity for growth here as well. Yeah, so while at times in the past, it looks like you were confused as to, I feel like even now you might be a little bit confused as to, okay, how do I actually make this happen? Or what is this actually going to look like? Or what form is this going to take? Or what exactly am I going to offer? What am I going to call myself? Things like that. And your confusion might be different depending on what role you're taking, but those are some examples of the questions that might be coming up for you as you embark on this new journey, right? Again, those questions or insecurities, the vulnerability of not knowing, of leaping, of taking the risk and not knowing for sure what happens or what comes, or if you may not even have all the details laid out yet. Now, there's a transformation happening here of this confusion such that I feel like it's supporting you to, again, we open the reading with this energy like we already talked about, that personal responsibility, personal power, taking ownership, taking the reins, deciding to move forward on your spiritual path, moving toward your spiritual destiny, your greater legacy, right? So we already saw that. So that means that's the energy you're stepping into. So what this tells me is any confusion that you're experiencing, you either already experienced in the past or that you're experiencing now, is going to fall by the wayside as you continue on your journey. Continue to take action toward it. Continue to iron out the kinks. Let the thing evolve. Let yourself evolve. Let this be a learning process. Let yourself grow. There are going to be things that you don't know now that you will know in the future. There are things that in the future you will not know that then you'll have to learn thereafter, meaning there's no way to know it all, and you're going to be learning it as you go. It's a part of the process and the journey of this whole experience for you to not know, number one, and to be willing to enter that frontier anyway, but to also recognize or realize that the whole point of walking the path, or at least one of the many points, is that you learn as you go. You're not going to know or have all the answers right now. You're going to grow into those. And as you continue to move into, again, greater personal responsibility, personal power, taking back the reins, moving toward what you want, as you continue to align with that energy more and more cleanly and clearly, all the answers are going to come. All the clarity is going to come. You just need to focus on moving toward what it is that you want, right? Allowing and freeing yourself to feel those desires, clearing out, or at least becoming aware of those limiting beliefs, continuing to take action, move into alignment with what you want, this greater purpose path, this greater abundance. And all of that energy is going to transform. And it's a matter of trusting the path, trusting the journey, trusting the flow. So show me the money. It sounds like for you, card pile 1, that part of your next level of finances or a new wave of abundance is stepping into your career, a new career path / purpose path, stepping into your own business and providing some kind of service to support the collective. So it sounds like that's where your next level of finances is at, because you then are the creator of your own life. You can decide what your services, what your prices are, who you're working with. And it does feel like it's a journey, because it still feels like you're ironing out the kinks and kind of figuring out those details and specifics. But that's the journey you're choosing to take. And it is saying that it's worth it. Ultimately, it is worth it to you because it's significantly more fulfilling than anything you've done or could do. So thank you, card pile 1. If this resonates for you, I encourage you to like, to subscribe, press the bell icon so that way you receive notifications moving forward. I do have an incredible program out right now. It's called Spirit Woman. It's a year-long coaching community to nurture your true nature and your highest potential. You can check out those details below or on my website, erritygreen.com/spiritwoman. Thank you, card pile 1. All right, card pile 2. We're talking about show me the money. So this is your finances and money reading. We may pick up on some purpose, path, career, that kind of thing, since that's how human beings tend to earn or receive money. But let's go ahead and dive in and see what we see here. Okay, so I feel like there's something around, living a simple life. It could be even a more basic or minimalist life, something closer to the earth. Now, I feel like there's some of you in some ways are thinking that either you're telling yourself it isn't enough, or you don't want this, or maybe you're coming to terms with a simpler life. Like you're coming to terms with, maybe my life isn't going to be all big, bad, and bold. Maybe I'm not going to be have fame and fortune. Maybe I'm not going to be some big celebrity. Maybe all these big things aren't going to happen that I thought or expected. And it doesn't mean those things aren't possible for you. But that's what I'm getting right away, and we'll see how the next layers of the reading unfold. But it's saying at some level you're feeling disappointment and loss. And I feel like you're entering into a simpler reality, a simpler life. So what this is telling me is you're either grieving the loss of these fantasies or dreams or projections or ideas that you thought you would have for yourself, and settling into a simpler life that you'll actually learn to appreciate, enjoy, and come home to. Like that might actually be part of your soul's purpose and mission, or even what your truest, most authentic desire is something simpler, is something more minimal, is something that's sort of closer to the earth, closer to home, that kind of thing. It's saying that, or that you are there was another lingering energy here, and I'll see if it comes through again. It will, if it's meant to. But more or less, there's some kind of simplicity to your reality. So some of you may have lost a job. Maybe that's why you're here. Maybe you've lost some kind of promotion, or something has happened. And it's so, but ultimately what's happening is you've been brought into a simpler experience, a simpler chapter, something that's a little bit easier, closer to home, maybe less responsibilities in some way. That's why I say maybe you've lost a job or lost some kind of promotion or role or something like that, and that's why you're here, and you're like, oh, how do I make the money then? But it's not going to be the case for all of you. Some of you are just, again, could be sort of feeling disillusioned, like all those big dreams that I had, or maybe you were in some kind of academic or corporate kind of setting or role, and you realize it's not what you wanted, and so you're grieving the loss of that. But really, you do want that simpler life, whatever it is that it's bringing you as a secondary result. And so something has happened here that has led you to a simpler chapter, a simpler life, and there's some grief happening here, a loss, a disappointment, a seeming failure. So again, some of you might have lost a job. Some of you, and you didn't want to, but some of you might have lost a job, but really it wasn't fulfilling for you anyway, and now you're landing into a simpler life as a result. So take what resonates, apply the energy to whatever your circumstances and conditions are. Yeah, so again, something happened. There was a loss here, and again, it has led to a more ordinary life, a simpler life. It's kind of like that vibe of chopping wood and carrying water, and chopping wood and carrying water. So many of you might be relegated to the home. You're kind of taking care of the family, or doing the dishes and cooking and stuff like that. Maybe not working as hard or as long or as much. Some of you may have dropped to part-time, something like that. But I feel like this energy of you're ultimately going to actually appreciate the simpler way of life. There is a grieving period here, and I think it's, again, the loss of an idea, disillusionment, the loss of this dream that you did have for yourself, or this fantasy of how things could go. But when you really get nitty-gritty down into it and really explore it and allow yourself to grieve, I do feel like most of you, if not all of you, are going to find that you appreciated this change, that you appreciated this shift, that it brought you closer to your priorities, it brought you closer to what matters most to you, it brought you closer to what's most meaningful for you, and it's actually helping you see clearly and get into greater alignment with your soul, with your true spiritual purpose and mission, with where you're actually meant to go. Some of you, as a result of this shift, end up changing your path dramatically. You end up changing your the way you operate in your purpose dramatically. Some of you end up finding new inspiration, new vision, new ideas as a result of this shift that brought you back to the ordinary, to ordinary life, to kind of doing the same old thing. Maybe even to some of you, mediocrity or monotony. And again, there's some grief around that. If you expected something big, or you were on your way to climbing the corporate ladder, you had some big idea for yourself that didn't fully work out. Whatever that is for you, that shifted, that transformed, now you're finding that you're stepping into a simpler life. Some of you are fighting it. You don't like it. You don't want it. And I don't blame you, because in many cases in this life, we are required to make money or accrue resources. And so that could be what you're fighting. And you might be feeling insecure or scared or nervous about how that's settling. But it's saying ultimately, even though you might be clinging to the past right now and fighting that, Ultimately, this is something that brings you closer to yourself, that brings you closer to home, that brings you closer to who you are and what you actually want. So whatever you're experiencing might take many different forms of this energy, but ultimately there's some kind of loss, disillusionment, disappointment that brought you into a simpler way of life, a simpler way of living and being, and that you might be fighting that right now. You might be grieving that loss, but it is something that does serve you in the end. Yeah. Okay. Responding, not reacting. Okay. So there might be some emotional reactivity here. Again, clinging to the past, wishing for what once was, not understanding the change, not understanding the shift, maybe cursing God or life a little bit, but just not fully seeing the value that's in this experience. And again, I don't blame you, because again, if you did lose a job or a promotion or all the work that you've put in toward a different path, that can be a massive loss, and that is something to grieve and to create space for, so that you can grieve. So that is important, that is significant, and it's saying you might not be seeing the deeper gift here. You might not be seeing sort of the diamond in the rough. You might not be seeing that there's an opportunity for something else here. Something else wants to awaken. Something else wants to take hold. Something else wants to come through. And in order for you to sort of set upon that path, it's requiring this clearing out, this space, this spaciousness, this simplicity. And the simplicity too is going to be bringing you closer to yourself. Yeah, this is a time for healing. Take a look. A time for healing. Distorted perceptions here. So you're moving through just maybe ideas that you had, maybe again the disillusionment. So you might be looking at the old dreams or fantasies that you had for yourself. Is this what I really wanted? Was this really important for me? Was this a role that I inherited, or that my parents wanted for me, or that I just thought was easy, or that just happened because I went to school and I landed upon this path and then here I am? Was this what you really wanted? Doing that deeper excavation, also recognizing what's conditioned and what's true. Is this a conditioned desire? Did you want this big thing or this fame and fortune or whatever it was, right? That was your situation. Did you really want that? Or was it conditioned? Was it, again, because it was taught and told to you, because it's what you saw on TV, or because a friend did it, or because it's just what you naturally fell into after going to school and just finding the thing that kind of you were good at and you just did it anyway? So there is some moving through of sort of distorted perceptions and perspectives. What's real, what's true? What's false, what's true? What's illusion, what's true? What's authentic to you, what's not? So you're kind of sifting through all of this as a result of this grief, loss, and mourning, because of that disappointment, that loss, that disillusionment. And you're sort of sifting through all of this, and then probably also wondering, which is why you're here, like, where's the money, where's the finances? It hasn't gotten to that yet, but it's more so far, card pile 2, it's a reassurance. It's saying, trust this. There's something here for you. This was purposeful. This is bringing you closer to what matters, closer to home, closer to what's meaningful or what's meant to happen for you. Trusting the alignment here. Again, we get another ordinariness card. We have two very sort of, these are my kind of simplicity, closer to the earth, chop wood, carry water, Buddhist simplicity kind of cards. And you're getting both. Recognize that this ordinariness, this space that you've created, whatever has happened that has led to this, is leading you directly to what you're meant to do, to what you're supposed to do, to what you're supposed to create, to what you're supposed to experience. Now, for some of you, I'm feeling, now this is going to be relevant for all of you, and I know that immediately because I'm feeling some of you have families and stuff, but for a small majority of you, I am getting that you find your soulmate or someone you're going to start a family with as a result of starting on this path. You kind of keep going down it, and then eventually someone lands in your lap that support you to bring about that vision you might not even have had for yourself in terms of having a partner and a family and so on and so forth. Now, obviously, for the other majority of you, what I was talking about earlier is more true, ringing true in terms of it brings it back a clearer vision for your life, what you ultimately want for yourself, what you actually want for yourself. This is supporting you to get into alignment with your soul and your calling. That way you can choose a career and purpose path, or even a path in terms of accruing resources and money that serves what you actually want, that serves your authentic self, that is true to you, not true to the conditioned self, the conditioned fantasies, the conditioned ideas, the conditioned desires that in some way were not really doing it for you, or in some way were not true for you. This is going to bring you to where you want to go. It's trusting that. Now, I know that might be hard to hear on a show me the money finances reading, but if money is truly a desire for you, and of course it's even a need in our reality, but it's saying it's going to lead you there. It's not saying that this is happening right now, because obviously what it is telling me is that you're living pretty ordinarily, again, and all the energy we already talked about, plus going through healing. if you have the space and if you have the availability to just allow yourself to settle into this and relax, meaning if there is another income or someone or something that can support you, I would take advantage of this healing time to do the work that we're talking about here. If that's not a possibility, still allow yourself to grieve, allow yourself to go through this and process this as best as you can while you're perhaps searching for another job or another opportunity or whatever. And I know that's not the case for all of you, but I think it's important to talk about that for the person who no longer has income and is on a money reading. And if I feel that energy, I want to make sure I speak to that. But ultimately, it's bringing you to the right path, right time, right purpose, right people. You know how that's kind of what alignment is: right time, right place, right people, so on and so forth. And if you're not there, things aren't going to feel quite right or as fulfilling. Oftentimes our souls will make sure that shit's cleared out eventually anyway, which might have been what happened for you. But in one way or another, the simplicity that you've stepped into is ultimately going to bring you about into that greater vision that you want for yourself, including the money that you desire for yourself. You have to trust it, follow the flow, allow the clearing out of all of this old stuff, allow yourself to get really connected to your true authentic self, follow the path of your true authentic self. It will bring you everything you need. All right, card pile 2. I would like to hear from you. Please do share your story below if that lands for you. I know you probably didn't love the sound of that because, when you're in a situation like that, you're like hoping that says you win the lottery. I can appreciate that. I totally understand. But that was the reading for you today. And oftentimes what we need most isn't exactly what we want. So you are always, though, getting what you need to get what you want. We can trust that. All right. So if you did like this, even if it was beneficial, if you didn't love it, go ahead and share your comments below, like, subscribe, press the bell icon. That way you're notified from here on forward. I am offering a program right now, Spirit Woman. It's a year-long coaching community to nurture your true nature and your highest potential. You can check out those details below or at my website, erritygreen.com/spiritwoman. Thank you, card pile 2. Okay, card pile 3. So you already know what to do, card pile 3. That's not the case for everybody. Okay, but that energy is coming up really clear here. But you're being asked to trust, to go with the flow, to do the thing, to make the move, to take the risk. In some way, you're holding yourself back. You're not following through, or you're not showing up, or you're not doing the thing, or you're not taking the risk. You're being asked to trust, to follow the path that you already know. There is something here for you, and for whatever reason, you haven't moved forward just yet. You have not moved forward just yet. And there's a need for accountability here. Accountability to yourself. Following through on what you say you want. Following through on your commitments. Following through for you toward what you want. So you already know what you need to do, and yet you've been holding back. And then, of course, you're here on a reading being like, where's my money? But it's saying you already know what to do. So there's something that you're already aware of that you're not taking action on, that you need to be holding yourself accountable for in terms of showing up, doing the thing, taking the risk, making the move, and otherwise taking responsibility for the change that you want to see in your life. Okay, so let's see what else is here. Maybe we might get more information as we go. So in some way, I feel like you were judging yourself. This could have to do with either I got a little bit of this energy in pile 1, but I'm getting it again here in a little bit of a different way. But it's like judging yourself in terms of like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. I don't trust myself to be able to do this. I don't know if I'm capable of doing this. Can I manage the consequences of doing this? If it doesn't work out, do I trust myself with the consequences of doing this? This could also be trying to control and micromanage and wanting to know every single detail and exact outcomes. And what about this? And if this happens, then that, and so on. Trying to like micromanage it and have all these like backup plans. And if you don't have it, then never mind. I'm not going to do it. If I don't know for sure that I can do blank, then never mind. Well, here's the thing. Any spiritual path, there's nothing ever guaranteed. So you're going to have to give that up right now. Here there's an opportunity to release your attachment to knowing for sure that you're going to get what you want. There are no guarantees. Everything on the spiritual path is a risk. In fact, that's why a lot of people say that the spiritual path is the warrior's path, because it takes incredible courage and bravery to do the thing, to keep showing up, to persevere, never knowing if any of it's going to work out. Never knowing if any of it's going to result in a harvest or a bounty. Never knowing if anything is going to come to pass that we are working toward or desiring to come to pass. So, and recognizing that there's this sort of invitation or welcoming to accept that that's the case, and then move forward on your journey, to progress anyway, to proceed anyway, to advance anyway. You already know what you need to do, and you've been holding back, again, because you want to know all the things, and you have to have the certainty, and again, you're trying to control it, micromanage it, and make sure of it, and or you're judging yourself in some way. Oh, I don't know if I can, or if I could, and what would I do if, and it's like, all of that stuff is holding you back. And if you just trusted yourself and you let yourself be okay no matter what, if you told yourself that you loved yourself no matter the outcome, if you told yourself that you trusted yourself in life no matter the outcome, would you do it? And I think for most of you, the answer is yes. There's an opportunity here to come into greater self-love and self-acceptance and self-trust, even greater surrender with life itself, with God, Great Spirit, Higher Power, and saying, I trust that no matter what happens, that this is the right path for me. And I trust that no matter what happens, this is worth it. And that no matter what, you're willing to take the journey. You accept the consequences of a risk, which means there's no guaranteed outcome. So you're willing to accept the risk and jump anyway and leap anyway. This doesn't mean that we don't calculate our risk. This doesn't mean that we don't look at cost and benefit scenarios. This doesn't mean that we don't combine our head with our heart. So there's this energy here to make sure that I provide, not a disclaimer, but an awareness of, well, sure, if just so-and-so jumped off the bridge, are you going to do it? Well, clearly, no. And here you already know what you need to do, and it's a matter of trusting yourself, holding yourself accountable, doing the thing, even if you don't know, even if you don't believe you're good enough, trusting that you are, and trusting the thing and doing it anyway, and even asking yourself, is it worth it? Even if nothing happened or worked out the way that you want it to go. Would this journey be worth it? Now, I already know your soul would say, yes, but would you say yes? And that's the question here. Is it worth it to you? Do you want to go ahead and take the risk anyway? So, what it's saying here, you're being brought to the ultimate homecoming, the grand homecoming. This says, may your body be where a harmonious balance of love, strength, light, and pleasure lives. And I feel like in some way, whatever risk you're going to take or leap of faith you're going to make or whatever you're moving into is relevant in order to bringing you into greater connection, communion, and union with yourself. There's some kind of self-growth or self-discovery journey that wants to come to pass or come to fruition or materialize or be realized in some way through this experience. Your soul wants you to grow in this way. Your soul wants to learn to trust yourself. Your soul wants you to learn to be self-reliant. Your soul wants you to learn to connect to personal responsibility. Your soul wants to see you commit and to show up and to honor your, whether it be the spiritual commitment, obligation, whether it be life's work, life path related, whether it's spiritual mission, spiritual destiny related. It wants to see this come to pass. There's some incredible growth here for you that your soul wants you to see happen. So look, past lives here. And that's what that's telling me is I feel like you've sort of been quote unquote training for this for lifetimes. This has been something that was sort of foretold or predestined, perhaps even orchestrated by your soul or placed into your soul contract if you believe or subscribe in that, where you agree to a certain number of things before you incarnate, but yet you're holding yourself back because you're not trusting yourself, because you're not trusting life to catch you. And it's even saying life might not catch you. And I'm not trying to say that it won't. If you're on a show me the money reading, I would imagine then that the money comes and the abundance comes, whatever it is you desire for yourself, the fulfillment, all of the things comes as a result of taking the leap eventually. But what wants to happen right now is a trust, is a leap, and there's a growth journey that wants to unfold. And is it worth it to you? You know, that's what the cards are asking you. So is it worth it? Are you willing to try? Are you willing to give it a shot? Yeah. So metamorphosis. Moving through that growth journey, that transformation that wants to unfold. It's really coming into your higher power, even maybe stepping more forward or more boldly into your higher self, being able to integrate your higher self, your true self more fully into your actual physical life. So there's some kind of growth journey as a result of taking this leap, and it's not telling me what it is for you, card pile 3, but you already know, and that was very clear right off the bat. And it might be something that you're acting like you don't know, but there's an inkling and you do know. And so it's asking you to move forward because ultimately there's some kind of transformation that wants to come through with you stepping more powerfully into your personal power and really owning it and doing the dang thing and just being a more integrated version of you. So there might be parts of you that you haven't fully realized or expressed or strengthened on your path so far, right? Perhaps you haven't operated in a whole lot of trust and faith. Perhaps you haven't operated with a whole lot of self-reliance or self-trust or personal responsibility. Perhaps you haven't operated with a lot of trust in life and faith in God and so on and so forth. And if that's the case, these are some of the muscles that want to be strengthened through this journey, and you're going to be able to strengthen them by saying yes, by doing the thing, and trusting that what is meant to come to you will. Trusting your soul, trusting what God has in store for you, trusting what your soul had orchestrated for you, because for you, this was something that was predestined. Now, there is something here about, there was an energy that came through right when I pulled out these cards. Just give me a minute. I want to meditate on it for a second. So what I'm getting, and I just had to make sure that I got it, was this comparison card. It's like, that for some of you, for a small minority of you, I don't think this is going to be very many of you, but it could be where you're comparing yourself to others and you don't know if you'll be able to measure up, and those kind of personal insecurities and things that we run into when we're taking a big leap. But I think for the majority of you, it's actually sort of balancing the pros and cons. Should I do this? Should I not? Is it really right for me? Is it not? Is this in alignment? Is it not? You know, all that kind of stuff of back and forth, up and down, not being able to make a decision, not being able to make a choice. But we already saw the very first card was for you to jump, to take the leap. So you are given the green light here from Spirit. Now, I will say again, of course, this is always supposed to be something that's measured and discerned and not just leapt into. And yet, it looks like here that your spirit, the God, Great Spirit, Cosmos, Universe, Higher Power, is asking you to leap, to trust yourself, to do the thing. And for some of you, I feel like you might even be called toward a support system, support partner, person, mentor, teacher, someone who can help you hold yourself accountable. If this is something you struggle with, get the support. I 90% of the time have a mentor. For like 10, 12 years, I always had one, 24/7 in some form. Now I have them more occasionally. However, if this is something that you're not used to, holding yourself accountable, following through, showing up, persevering, doing the darn thing, all these kinds of things, if those aren't, again, muscles that you've fully strengthened or flexed, get the support to help you if that's what you need. Help, you can pay for accountability, and you might need that. And I think it's just being honest with yourself and doing that. Now, for the rest of you who feel like you might not need that, but this, you just kind of need a shove, you know, an elbow in the right direction, here's this reading, and that's what it's doing. It's saying, yes, go for it. I do feel like the time of cost and benefit analysis is over, of maybe, I'll skirt around it, hem and haw. I do think that time for you is over, and it's really stepping into the greater journey to bring you to your higher self, this higher realization of yourself that happens as a result of this leap. So that's your reading card pile 3. I know this was about show me the money. So ultimately it looks like it's about you stepping into this new frontier, this new horizon. Even though it's unknown, it's a matter of taking that leap. So if you like this reading, I encourage you to subscribe. Do share your comments below. Press the bell icon when you subscribe. That way you receive notifications when new videos pop up. I also want to let you know I do offer both personal readings as well as coaching programs. I do offer support with accountability with such things as this. I have a program out right now. It's called Spirit Woman. It's a year-long community to nurture your true nature and your highest potential. And you can check out those details below or at my website, erritygreen.com/spiritwoman. Thank you, card pile 3. Okay, card pile 4, show me the money. Let's see where you're at here. All right, show me the money. So I feel like for some of you, you're being asked to reach out, to ask for help. Now, it's not showing me exactly what situation that you're in. Sometimes it just gets to the point, and it's like it just gets to the solution, like what you need to do. It doesn't always give me information on the past or past energies or any kind of problem or challenge or what you're moving through. Some of them do. If it's talking about dark night of the soul or something, it'll give me a little bit of energy. But here it's just saying, trusting that there's other people here to help you. Take a look. So some of you might be in a position where you do need some help. I'm not feeling a deep sense of like desperation or suffering or total impoverishment. I'm not getting that. If I do get that energy, I tend to speak to it and let you know. This just feels like in some way you're being asked to ask for support. Look at this card. It says assistance with access, and this one says we are the world. The energy right off the bat is about asking for help, asking for support, letting other people support you, letting other people hold your hand, letting other people walk with you, letting others' resources be your resources, and in some cases, in other ways, letting your resources be their resources. That we aren't here as lonely islands to do everything on our own and to figure it out all on our own and to try to be some sovereign, independent person who never has to rely on anyone or ask for help or ask for a favor or ask for support. That's not how it's meant to be. We're all here to do this together, and I do feel like this is a lesson for you, card pile 4. You might be someone who rarely asks for help, who says you don't want it, kind of walls yourself up, and would prefer not to ask for help, would maybe even prefer not to give a lot of help. You'd rather just kind of be on your lonely island, do your own thing, and not deal with other humans. I'm not saying that's the case for all of you, right? I tend to sort of, not exaggerate, but give words to the most kind of powerful energy in the room. So if that doesn't land for you in that really big, bold way, I'm sure it lands for you in some way. You have to apply the energy to your circumstances, but it's saying you might tend to kind of be the lonely island, on the lonely island, operating sort of like Tom Hanks in that one movie where he's lost, and you live like that. But it's saying, no, there's so much more possibility, there's so much more abundance, there's so much more love and connection in all forms of abundance. Like, I said abundance already, but all forms of abundance when you're connecting with other people. And it's like taking advantage of what's already here, taking advantage of the people who want to help, finding ways to lock arms and get support from each other. It just feels like such a light, spirited, happy, healthy energy of everyone supporting each other, that no one has to feel bad about asking for help. No one has to feel bad about giving help. Like, I feel like humans put these kind of labels and all sorts of stuff, judgments and so on it, but this energy here is such a beautiful, kind, compassionate, loving energy of like, hello, we all came here to do this together. To try to do it on your own would be absolute insanity. And again, Tom Hanks in the island, who wants to just turn out looking at the volleyball and making friends with him, right? And so there's something here about being willing or cultivating a willingness to ask for help when you need it. And it feels so gentle and sweet and kind, like there has to be some kind of support. Maybe you're not even seeing it just yet. If you're not seeing it, I do think it's because you've tended to limit yourself from giving and receiving help. You've tended to sort of hold back. You've tended to maybe separate yourself, to not enter the wild, so to speak, and it feels kind of like foreign and unsafe for you to be sort of indebted to someone or feel like you are, to feel like you have to be overly vulnerable or share your insecurities or vulnerabilities with them, or that now they're going to expect something from you and you don't want anybody expecting anything from you because you're trying to do everything on your own anyway, and that's the last thing you need is someone adding to your pile when you don't have any help anyway. So do you see all these kinds of things that are coming up? So for you, there's something especially powerful and liberating and transformational about asking for help, about asking for support, about being supported. Yeah, because right now I feel like you might be going through a time of confusion. Some of you might very well be distraught. Some of you are stressed at the very least. You're sort of racking your mind about how to make this work, how to make this happen. So some of you might be in a situation of a lack of resources or none, or feeling sort of impoverished or neglected in some way. You've sort of found yourself in a rut or a hole, and you're just kind of, things aren't adding up and you might not have what you need. And it's saying I do feel like this energy here is about freeing yourself from this energy by being willing to ask for help. Now I do feel like though part of this is also moving toward what it is you know you need to do for yourself, moving toward what it is you know you want to do for yourself. So in some ways, I feel like you've been so wrapped up in the stress and the emotional energy of it that you haven't been moving toward the solutions. You haven't been asking for help or asking for support or asking for favors or maybe looking for jobs, whatever your situation is, right? Because looking for jobs doesn't feel like it's 100%, but there's something here about moving toward a solution that feels like very much in alignment with this scenario. And it's like, instead of sitting here racking your brain and worrying about it and going over and over in your mind about it, probably like you have 1,001 times, it's like that's not getting you anywhere. It's actually digging you a deeper hole. Set yourself free. Move toward the solution. Now there is help here or on the way or available. That help card would not come up if that's not the case. So you have to be willing to start looking around. Are there local churches and organizations, nonprofit organizations that might be able to help? Do you have a friend that you haven't thought of in a long time, a friendly neighbor, a family member, someone that you don't really want to have to reach out to or ask, but you might have to, those kinds of things. Now it's not asking you to enter into agreements with people that are toxic or abusive or exploitative. Please don't. Using your judgment, but this is light energy. This is yummy energy. This is good stuff. Moving toward the right people, the right solutions, as opposed to, again, worrying, racking your brain, getting nervous, not knowing what to do, again, that desperation energy. And it doesn't feel like super intense or heavy, but it does feel like you've been stressed out a little bit, wondering how it's going to work out. Stop going in the head. It doesn't have nothing to offer you. Move toward the solutions. Yes, there's new birth here. There is new opportunity. There are new things to come. Seedlings that are sort of being hatched and coming into bloom or into blossom. So this is about you stepping into your self-empowerment, stepping into that role of empowered adult, stepping into your own personal power and sovereignty, stepping into greater self-reliance, stepping into energy that is intentional. Like, again, I'm going to move towards solutions. Instead of going over and over and over again in my mind about the problem, I'm actually going to become responsible about it, and I'm going to move toward the solutions. And if this means you have to write out 100 different solutions just to get yourself out of the worry energy that I already put down, I put that on that card, and then pick 3 to 5 of those that are doable, move toward those. However, I did say support was here or on the way, or at least available for you to ask. You might have to ask, because if the cards are saying that, then it's saying that's the suggestion, right? And please know that there is new birth on the horizon, but it has to do with and is connected to with you becoming much more intentional in your life. It's having to do with you stepping into creative control in your life. It has to do with you sitting in the steering wheel, not letting these other people drive, not let other forces drive, not letting your mind drive and all your worries drive and all, getting kind of caught up in the whirlwind of emotions when a problem pops up. And every single time it does, now you're thrown into drama and crisis and dilemma again. And it's saying, no. This whole situation, and I even feel like the manifestations that are coming to pass that might have led you here, has to do with you taking control of your life, with you being more intentional with your life. If you want it to look different, you are going to have to step into control of your life. And it doesn't mean we get to control everything, but it means we get to be intentional. It means we get to move towards solutions. It means we take responsibility for ourselves and our problems. It means that we are willing to do what it takes, for however long it takes. It means we reach out for help, for support if we need it. There's something here about you coming into full creative control in your life, taking back the ship. If someone's been running the ship for a while, you're the captain. Get back on board. Get behind that freaking wheel. If it's you're in the car and your kids have been driving, or someone else has been driving the show, or just all your problems you've been letting take the steering wheel. Get back in the steering wheel. You take control. That's what this is all about here. Again, you've been through a time of maybe deeper sorrow or upset. Maybe feeling the loss, like, gosh, problems tend to come up a lot for me, or I've been here for a while, or we're here again, and I keep kind of hitting upon the same old crisis, or the same old problem, or the same old drama or dilemma. In some way, you're just feeling alone, and feeling like you're unsupported, or that things aren't going to work out. That sort of powerlessness or helplessness, that's where you found yourself. And it's saying that's only because of your distorted perspective. It's only because you're not seeing things clearly. It's because you have been more in the emotions of the experience as opposed to the actual experience. It's like something happens, and instead of just tackling it and saying, okay, again, ask for help, or let's work toward a solution, or moving into alignment with what I actually want, pretty much not working harder but working smarter. Instead of doing that up until now, you've tended to sort of lose yourself and default into old emotions, overwhelm, worry, stress, and then what happens? Even more problems. Things start to crumble because, again, things start slipping out of your hands, because instead of giving the solutions your time and attention and actually working toward those things and being intentional with your life and becoming the creator of your life, you kind of fall into this habit of, oh, I don't know what's going to happen, I don't know what to do, I don't know, all this kind of narrative and story, all this stuff starts coming up. And then what does happen, because you didn't take control, you didn't start moving towards solutions, then other problems pop up, because again, something slips through the cracks over here, because you're spending so much time in the emotional aspect of it, the emotional fallout, that you're just not being intentional. And so things are slipping through the cracks, or falling apart, or crumbling. And so then you find yourself in an even bigger scenario of shit. So it's like, okay, this is all about getting intentional. If you want more money and you came to this reading for that purpose, your money, show me the money, is going to come from you becoming much more intentional with your life, with you getting into the driver's seat of your life, being the captain of your own ship, right? There's a new sheriff in town, is you, okay? All these other things you were making sure of are not sheriff. New sheriff in town is you, okay? So that's how you're going to secure greater outcomes, greater abundance, greater finances, or greater financial success. It's going to happen from you taking control of your life, taking back control of your life. So card pile 4 If you liked this reading, I know that sometimes it's hard truth though, so people may not like it, but I know sometimes we're usually getting what we need to get what you want. So that's what you need to do in order to get what you want. Get that help, reach out for support. Again, if you like this reading, do subscribe, click the bell icon. That way you'll be notified anytime a video pops up. I do want to let you know I do offer both personal readings as well as coaching programs to support you in your life, in your work, and your spiritual path. Right now I have an incredible program that's enrolling. It's called Spirit Woman. You can check out those details below or at erritygreen.com/spiritwoman. You can check out those details below, or you can check them out at erritygreen.com/spiritwoman. Thank you, Card Pile 4.